And, you know, while everybody's concerned about Muammar Gaddafi and whether we should or we shouldn't, you know, provide him more military assistance over there, the real action just continues to happen right here in this country as it goes further and further and further out of our control. American Bar Association getting together for their 22nd annual spring symposia. What's going to be their hot topic this spring? Join the ABA section of Real Property, Trust and Estate Law, RPTE, as we hold our 22nd annual spring symposia on April the 28th to the 29th of 2011. Noted speakers and experts in the field of real estate trust and real estate planning will be leading programs on current issues and hot topics in these areas of law. All sessions will be held at the Grand Hyatt, Washington. And it continues. Of course, that's where we get Alan F. Rothschild, Jr. He's the chair of the American Bar Association section of Real Property, Trust, and Estate Law. So yesterday we started in and looked at this book. Everyone could have one in their library if you could find it at a flea market like I did. The Reader's Digest Family Legal Guide, a complete encyclopedia of law for the layman. You know, I just picked these things up. I don't know how many hundred books I've got on law in my library. Miscellaneous things that I like to get and read. Some people like to read the sports page. I like to read law books, all right, and philosophy and history. But anyway, this one was particularly interesting because it shows two things. One, it shows what the generally accepted information for the layman is, if I could say it that way, kind of clumsily. But it floats out the ideas. You know, we talked yesterday about this state and the state, as Alfred Addis has been bringing to public attention more increasingly lately. The difference between this state and the state. Once you go in as a citizen and look for benefits, you know, out of these statutes, laws, codes, etc., you pretty well got penned up in there. But of course, the contrary to that is Grant Hall, the privacy crisis, identity theft, prevention and guide to anonymous living. There's a couple of different ways you can go. A trust could be used as a bludgeon to take you down with. At the same time, it could be used, you know, with the precision of a 30-06 and a scope to do good things for you and put food on your table. So it's just a matter of learning these things. I think if we can all up our ante just a little bit and realize that if we're going to be, you know, if there's going to be any change, we need a replacement set. We don't need it generally in mind. We need to have it firmly in hand. And we needed it years ago. But we'll need it tomorrow just as much as we need it today. And so hopefully right where you are when the fecal matter hits the rotating oscillator, as another host likes to say, when that day comes, and that day is coming, somebody's going to need to step up to the plate, you know. And maybe in your town, you'll get a bunch of hotheads with arms, and they'll go in and they'll wipe out your local government and your bankers, etc., etc. And although that might be a start in one direction, they'll find immediately, it's just like the old example that I give about tearing down the outhouse. It's real easy to pull down an outhouse, but 20 minutes later when you need to use one, they're kind of hard to build. It's easy to tear down a government with bullets and bullhorns and so on and so forth, torches, Molotovs, and the rest. Easy to tear something down, hard to build one back. It's easy to castigate and condemn. It's really hard to bring forward meaningful solutions. So we just study this stuff, put it in our mind, let it flow around in your head so that you know that it's out there. Maybe if you come in a time of need, you might be able to turn to a trust and see if there's something in here for you. Law governing trusts, again, Reader's Digest. Trusts are governed by state law. A trust of real property or real estate is governed by the law of its situs. This becomes extremely important. We talked about situs yesterday and venue. Two important considerations. Where are you in relation to the law? Where are you in relation to venue? Are you a free man with your feet on the land? Are you a flesh and blood human being? Now, it's a politically socialized animal, according to our political science textbooks. Are you a flesh and blood man, created by your Creator, endowed with certain unalienable or unalienable rights? Rights. Or are you a citizen, expecting benefits from the system? Again, trusts are governed by state law. Well, yeah. Which law? A trust of real property or real estate is governed by the law of its situs, that is, the state in which the property is located. Notice the use of the phrase, the state. Not this state, but the state. It's situs. That is, the state in which the property is located. A trust of personal property, any property except real estate, is frequently governed by the law of the state of the settler's domicile. Settler again. Settler. It's the language of the Israelis, right? They're settlers. They're pilgrims. But of course, all of that was fed to us by Hollywood throughout our lives as we watch the, Indians and the cowboys shooting it up, and the pilgrims and the settlers, right? The pilgrims got it, the Mayflower Compact, the pilgrim. A trust of personal property is frequently governed by the law of the state of the settler's domicile and their residence. Lots to understand. These are not necessarily synonymous. They're certainly not synonymous. Domicile and residence. Again, if you don't have a Black's Law Dictionary or access to one or a Bovier's, you can find it on the internet. But words have meanings. And we talked about, grammar, the trivium. The trivium, grammar, dialectic or logic, and then rhetoric, oratory, being able to become vocal, local, cogently. Being careful about the things we say, the words we use, and having the answers to questions we ask before we ask the questions, oftentimes. The difference between an evidentiary hearing and an argument hearing. You're there to argue, or have you brought evidence? Like to start the broadcast is the show me showdown. Show me the law, show me your facts, and show me your evidence. I'm not here to argue with you. Certainly listen to your facts. Certainly inquire and look at your evidence, and certainly interested in what law you might bring forward, but I'm not here to argue. And if you go into a public hearing or public meetings to argue, you've already lost. The deck is stacked against you. In determining which state has the greatest interest in regulating the trust property, courts consider a number of factors such as the intention of the settlor. Intent. Very important. Intention. And when you're getting involved in intention and situs and venue, you need to demonstrate that in advance in your writings to make sure that you wind up in the right side of the law, on the right side of the bar. The state where the trustee lives, and the location of the trust property. This is all the. But we go into this uniform laws and we find this state, as opposed to the state. Reasons for trust. Trusts are established for two main reasons: to take advantage of the tax benefits they offer. That's ought to be a heads up to you. Tax benefits, so you're a taxpayer, so you're a citizen. Be careful. And benefits. Every time a person reaches out for unearned shekels or grants in aid are benefits. Rights. They always have duties that run with them. It's a double-edged sword. Trusts are established for two main reasons: to take advantage of the tax benefit they offer and to provide a way to take care of other people. Other people. At least here they're using people, not citizens. And again, this has been written for a wide audience, for the general audience, for Ma and Pa America sitting at the kitchen table reading the Reader's Digest Family Legal Guide. Family Legal Guide, a complete encyclopedia for laymen. It's being written for the layman. But it's surely not written by a layman. This has been written by a very careful team, no doubt, collaborative writing project by attorneys.